Avery from A Very Avid Reader, and welcome back to my channel. So I've been studying abroad in Oxford for the past 6 weeks. So I've been able to travel around to a lot of cool places in the UK, and the subject of this video is a lot of really cool Jane Austen sites that I was able to see. So the first place that I went was Bath, which was really amazing because both Persuasion and Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen take place in Bath. So it was just really cool to walk around the city. That was the setting for both of those books. And also in Bath, there's a Jane Austen Centre, which was really interesting, and I was able to learn a lot about Jane Austen's life, and they have a life-sized wax figure of her, which was really interesting, which you'll see. And one of the coolest places that I went was Jane Austen's house in Chawton. So this was the house that she kind of lived her last few years in, and it's also the house that she was in when all of her books were published. Even though she had written them years before, it was in that house that she had all of her books published, besides the last two, which came out after she died. But it was really amazing to be able to walk around the house that she and her sister and her mother lived in, and to be able to go into her bedroom, and it was really just a very amazing experience. And besides that, I was also able to go to the cathedral that she is buried in and has a nice memorial plaque. So I was able to see a lot of really cool things, a lot of really great sites, and I'm going to take you along with me as I go to these sites, and I hope that you enjoy seeing them as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's just get started. The first place that we're going to go is Bath.
Good afternoon, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. May I present myself? I am Mr. Bennett, here on the door at the Jane Austen Centre, Bath.
So here we have Colin Firth at the entrance of the Jane Austen Centre in Bath, and this center was really cool, and it was mainly an educational center where I learned a lot about her family and about her siblings and about the time period that she lived in. There was also a lot of really cool Regency era clothing and a lot of examples of what the clothing looked like that she would have worn in that time period. And here we have the wax figure of what they think Jane Austen would look like, and you can't really tell, but she was actually pretty short and very petite, definitely a lot smaller than what I was expecting. Right down the street from the center was 25 Gay Street, which is where Jane Austen and her mother and her sister rented some rooms right after her father died. So a little while later, I hiked all the way up the hill to Camden Place, which was really cool to see because if you have read Persuasion, you know that this is where the Elliots decide to live when they move to Bath, and it was really cool seeing this because the geography and the height of where you lived in Bath said a lot about your status. So it was really cool actually being able to walk all the way up to the hill to Camden Place, where Austen got the inspiration for where these characters lived. So I'm on my way to the Jane Austen house in Chawton. This is where she spent her last few years, and I'm very excited. I'm walking there as we speak, and this is gonna be good stuff. So yeah. So this is the house, and it's super cute on the outside. I love the ivy growing up the side. And here we have the kitchen. So this is where all of their meals were made. Next we have the drawing room, and in front of this fireplace is actually where Jane read aloud Pride and Prejudice for an audience right after it was published. So that was really cool to see. And this is the Reverend Austen's bookcase, who is Jane's father. This dress was actually a dress that Anne Hathaway wore in Becoming Jane, which is a very fictionalized movie about Austen's life. Next up, we have the dining parlor. And this is Jane's writing table, which was one of the coolest things in the house because that is the actual table that she sat at and wrote some of her most famous works. So that was amazing. Another one of my favorite parts of the house was Jane's bedroom. So this is the bedroom that she shared with her sister Cassandra, and it was just pretty surreal to walk into her room and to stand there where she lived, and it was very cool. Here are some other dresses that were also in the Becoming Jane movie that Anne Hathaway wore when she was portraying Jane. Here is Austen's actual shawl that she owned, as well as some of her jewelry. The jewelry was beautiful. The ring was absolutely my favorite, and all I can say is it really looked like it would fit my finger. It was tempting not to grab that thing. Here is a quilt that Austen and her mother and her sister would have worked on as they, just lounged around the house as women did back in the day. And here are the gardens, which were really beautiful and also just really amazing to walk around, and just know that Jane was there and walked around these grounds and lived there. It was one of the coolest experiences ever. So, just went to the house. It was awesome. Loved it. It was so cool being in her house, being in her bedroom. Super cool. Next, I went to Winchester Cathedral, and this is the church that Austen was buried in. She moved to Winchester when she was getting really sick in order to get treatment there from Chawton, but she ended up passing away, and so this is where she was buried, and she really loved this church and wanted to be buried here. As you can tell, it's very beautiful. So this sign shows you the three main memorials in the church. There's a window that was put in there in 1900, as well as a memorial brass, which was also put in later, and the original grave of Austen. This memorial brass was put in later because her original grave actually didn't say anything about her being a writer. And so here is her original grave. So this is where she's buried. And this beautiful stained glass window also honors Austen. There's quite a few little things in there that pay homage to her, but in Latin it says, "Remember in the Lord Jane Austen, who died July 18th, AD 1817. Well, that is it for my video. I hope that you guys enjoyed coming around with me to these really great Austen sites. If you did, make sure to leave me a like. Also, make sure and subscribe if you want to see more videos from me in the future. And yeah, leave a comment below telling me what your favorite Jane Austen book is. They're all so different, but I recently read Persuasion and I loved Persuasion. I thought it was amazing. So that might take the cake for me at this moment, but it's almost impossible to choose. So let me know what yours is in the comments. Thank you again for watching. I appreciate it so much. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening or night or morning or whenever you're watching this. I will see you in my next video. Bye.